Good evening. Good evening,
Good evening.
so. Good evening, y'all. Listen, to anybody, to everybody. We working on another week of this concept, y'all. This is chess, not checkers, right? Talking about just the way that life and relationships work, right? Without regard for biases, man, and perceptions, trying to help people to make connection to strategy in relationship, as opposed to just kind of handling relationships haphazardly, right? Last week I shared that that Sharita and I have been married for 13 years, right? We don't know everything there is to know about marriage.
We ain't new to this. We treated it.
We don't.
My bad.
So we don't know everything that there is to know about marriage, man. But we're learning, right? You know what I mean? We are learning, and just trying to pass on kind of some of the stuff that we've learned. You know what I mean?
And learning the process, right? So like last week, this is new for me. I mean, I've spoken before people before, but this is different for me. But even sitting and having the discussion is enlightening in the moment, right? And so it's a challenge for you guys to have conversations about marriage and relationship, because that's how we learn, that's how we stretch ourselves, that is how we create openness and flexibility about what we think. Sometimes that's how things are established, right? In a council, right? Yeah.
So hold on, we got Mindy with the
hey. Man. Hi, Mindy Sue.
Hey, man, we got to get you on, man. Man was telling me some things today, man. She was dropping game. You hear what I'm saying? She had all kind of game for the married folks and the people in love. So listen, y'all. One of the things I was thinking about, man, and one of the things that we wanted to kind of talk about was this notion of power couples.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Talking about power couples, right? So if you think about it from this perspective, right? If you guys would consider this perspective, on a chessboard, right? On a chessboard, you got the king and the queen that are legitimately the most powerful pieces on the board, right? So the king and queen are legitimately the most powerful pieces. Why? One, nobody is more important to the game of chess than the king, right? And with that being the case, look at you, so funny. I don't know why you act like
it's the choice of words, but
I'm saying
I got you.
Yeah, I'm saying technical. I'm saying technical knowledge.
It's good.
You making it seem like it mirrors, and I'm not
saying I'm a woman. You sit next to a woman. You sit next to a queen. It's all good. I mean, we get it. We got it. I agree. I agree. I agree.
I'm saying I'm talking about technical knowledge of the game of chess.
The game of chess,
right?
Chess, not checkers.
Yes, right. The technical knowledge of the game of chess. The king is the most important piece from the perspective, right? That you corner the king, you win the game. The queen is equally as powerful, right? The game is just not contingent on
correct
her.
The game does not end
exactly, right?
If she gets taken.
Correct. Right. And so that's all I mean. You know what I mean? Not minimizing the queens, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not maximizing the kings. I don't know why. I don't know.
Why are you laughing?
I don't nothing.
Yeah, because
I
don't minimize nothing about the queen.
But listen, right? So I say, come on now. You better tell it now. The queen protects the king to avoid being put in checkmate. You better say, spoken like a true queen, Mrs. Davis, right? But that's absolutely true, y'all. And so look at this. I want to talk about this notion of power couples, because it's important that we dissect it a little bit so that we think about, you know what I mean? So it changes the way, or challenges the way that we think about it. Right. So on a chessboard, you can truly say that the king and queen on a chessboard are a power couple.
Correct.
Right? And you can say that because legitimately they have the most power and influence over the game, right?
It is not perceived power.
It's not perceived power.
It is definitive.
It's correct.
Yeah.
It's legitimate power, right? And so
what does that mean? Break it down, please.
What?
Just perceived.
Oh, what it looked like,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between what it looks like and what it actually is, right? If you corner the king, you get checkmate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has the ability to move and maneuver the way that the queen does.
Right.
Does that make sense? And so I say that, man. I say that because I think that when sometimes we assess relationships
from afar,
from
the outside.
Yeah, well, no. I'm saying even when we're talking about our own relationships, right? That it's like, you know, I'm trying to get with you so that we can be a power couple. I know, okay. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that there are some people that think in that context. Okay. And so I think that we have to be mindful that we don't begin to assess our relationships based on the perceived power sometimes of other relationships, right? And we definitely can't find ourselves in relationships with people because we think that this is going to be a power move.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit. This just came to me. This is so good. See, this is what I'm saying, right? Now, anybody that know me know I'm in the word and I'm a word person, right? I write. I want to know what my thoughts are. I don't want to be caught off guard. But this is good because it's like, boom, right there. You didn't have that, right? So what I thought about was the idea of a power couple and the idea of wanting to join with somebody for the perception that this is what this could be, right? This is how we get and it derives possibly from the idea of arranging marriages. Right? So we know that historically that was a part of many cultures. That's right. Fair. We arrange marriage in order to join power to make the kingdom stronger, whatever kingdom that may be. We join kingdoms, we join countries, we join families in order to join forces together. And a lot of times it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with the purpose of God or the purpose of love or the union. It's about what we got to do out here in this game. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think that it's interesting that in this day and time, or let's just say in the kingdom, right? So we got to set the stage. We talking about believing in God, believing in Jesus, understanding the word, and really being in a place where you believe that that is the foundation of your life, right? I always like to set with that just because, you know, we can argue about interpretation and all of those things, but if the word is not, if God is not the judge in your life, if that's not how you measure what right and wrong is, then we really not talking about the same thing. Okay. So if we're talking about that, then if you decide you're setting out to be a power couple, what is power in that instance?
Well,
does that make sense?
Yeah. But I think that when you talk about this notion of power couple, because we know that it's not just people that believe that are getting married.
No, right. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And so, so when people are talking about what a power couple is, number one, this is my, and please, y'all, if you out there, man, and put in the comments what a power couple is from your perspective. Yeah. Right. But one of the things that I always hear, right, as it relates to this notion of power couples, is the fact that a power couple means you are powerful by yourself on your own. Right. Okay. You are established. You have influence. You have authority. Right. You've got talents. You've got gifts. You have an established whatever it is. Exactly. Right. All by yourself.
You're established.
And then me, I'm established all by myself. And then we get together and pow. Right. Power couple happens. Right. And so you know what I mean? I think that there's much to be discussed on this notion of power couple, because it's like, yo, we look at outside. So we look at Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and we say power couple, right? We look at Jay-Z and Beyonce and we say power couple, right? Because we're talking about people that have an established brand, status, right? Whether it's wealth, whether it's notoriety, whether it's fame, whether it's impact, but they have it individually, but they're together, and that only amplifies the influence that they have, right? Or the power that they have. The problem, I think, sometimes, y'all, is we talk about power couples and we can get focused on power couples as it relates to trying to establish a relationship. But the reality is, before you can be a power couple,
you gotta be a couple.
You gotta be a couple. You know what I mean? We got, right? You gotta, I know that sounds real elementary and simple, y'all. Yeah, but there are people that are in these quote unquote power couple relationships. And they ain't really a couple.
Right.
They ain't really on the same page.
What is they call it? Switch situation shit?
Situation.
Did I get it right?
I think you want it.
Okay.
I think you want it. Right. But it is, right? And so you first got to be a couple. Number two, right? In order to be a couple, you need two whole individuals.
Yeah, you got to know who you are.
You got to be two whole individuals coming into a look to be
two.
coupled, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that, man, I say that because it's important that we know that when you're talking about love, especially if you're talking about marriage, right? If you're talking about relationship in general, but definitely if you're talking about marriage, you first got to be able to love you. Right? Like you gotta be able to love you. And if you can love you, then we can try to work on this, right? But there's another piece to it, depending on, right? You know what I mean? Because of what governs us, right? Which is the Bible. I got to be able to love here. So I got to be able to love me. I got to be able to love here before I can ever start loving here. Because the word of God will say to men, love your wives as Christ loved the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, love them as you love love them as if they are you. I gotta be, you are me, right? One flesh. And it breeds this whole question about whether love. I put a poll out, y'all, for anybody that looked at it, anybody that responded. I put a poll out that I said, is love still essential to marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Does it play an essential role in marriage? And I want to say
it was the foundation. That's what you asked me.
It was essential, but that's an excellent question though, mm-hmm. right? Is love the foundation of marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Does love have to be the foundation of marriage, right? Because historically, and I want to say Ange put it in the comments. She talked about it in the comments, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. What did you say? Historically, when marriage was used for political power and control, your family would only allow you to marry an equal, right? Now, here's the part of come on. Here's the part of that's powerful, right? Because what did God say when He created Eve,
right,
for Adam, right?
Yeah,
I will make him
comparable.
Right, I will make him a mate comparable to him. So you have to understand this notion that Ash talks about, which is this historical reference for marriage, was really predicated on this notion of saying, how do we come together and be more powerful than we were individually? So families would bring together families in order to increase political power. Right? Industrial power, right? If we were trying to amplify the business or the brand, countries, right? So if you remember, what was it? I want to say it was Henry VIII. Don't quote me if you're a history buff and I got it wrong, right? But I want to say that it was Henry VIII, right? That married the woman from Spain in order to solidify military power, right? You know what I mean? And improve. So we've got a notion of this power couple piece that kind of makes sense. So, you know what I mean?
So can I offer, can I raise,
please,
right?
Please do.
In our world, how do you become a power couple if God did not join your marriage? Right? I mean, mate selection.
Come on.
All right. So if you are not strategic, and if you didn't ask, or if you are not found by whom God sent, you found him. You accepted him, right? And now you in it and trying to make the power happen.
So,
and I'm not saying that God doesn't bless the marriage once you in it. Once you in the marriage, right? As long as when you loop God in, we got that. But we're talking about before that. I'm saying God should be joining the marriages, right? I mean, he should be selecting, or what was the word that we were using? Right. Arranging.
Okay.
He should be a part of the arrangement, right? Because if not, where does the power come from?
So can I do this, right? Because I got to get into some of these comments, y'all.
Okay.
Because y'all talking that talk. Forget, you ain't got to be able to see, baby. I was explaining it. I would tell you what.
I'm like, well,
but listen. So check this out, right? I want to look. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. What Taria said, right? She said, I struggle with saying a couple is a power couple because we have no idea what is going on behind closed doors. At what cost does it appear that they are a power couple? Now listen to me, right? Hold on. And look, Mrs. Davis, Gabby said, situationships and entanglements. When you were talking about, do they call them situationships? Listen to me though. So I want to speak on this, right? So I want to listen to me. You pose an excellent point right here, Taria, and I say that because from this perspective, one of the things that I think creates this misconception of marriage, right? Because I asked the question, is marriage essential? Is love essential in marriage, right? Or does love have to be the foundation of marriage? And I see a whole lot of yeses, right? And then I saw some is levels to this, right? I seen a no pop up in there. Here's the real question though, y'all. When we look at this thing called marriage and we say that love has to be in it or love doesn't, right? You got to make sure that you are assessing the values of the individuals that are a part of the marriage.
And what they define love to be.
Correct. What is it that you're looking for? Because everybody does not marry for love, right? There's an article that I read specifically this week that was talking about the fact that we have placed too much stake in this notion of romantic love. And because we have made romantic love so much bigger than marriage, no sooner than this don't feel romantic no more, right?
Fizzles,
it does, right? But that's what I'm saying. No longer than it doesn't feel romantic no more. No longer, if your palm stops sweating when I come in the room, I will fall out of love with you, right? And now I done fell out of love,
right?
And now we don't have no marriage no more, right? Because we have made this notion of romantic love so prevalent. One of the things I noticed, right, and I noted, is that when we talk about romantic love, right, a lot of us, especially as kids, we grew up on this on Disney. And so what happens at Disney, right?
Tingling.
Come on, right? You got Cinderella. She fits the glass slipper. She marries up.
One dance.
So we ain't talking about
dance, we in love.
We ain't talking about a comparable. No. We talking about her marrying up. Right. And then what does it say? Once they get in the little horse and buggy and they roll off, it says happily ever
that's
after.
It.
We have seen this notion of romantic love play out in snapshots.
Right.
So we see it in movies, we see it in romantic comedies, we see it in all of this stuff, we see it in Disney, and they say they lived happily ever after. But the camera stops rolling, but they leave us with this notion of this romantic love and the fact that this is the storybook ending. This is how it's supposed to happen.
And it's all before the marriage, that part, right? In addition to that, right, as women, this is really good, and I'm gonna jump around a little bit because
get in there.
We want to mix theology. We want to mix philosophies, right? We want to say the Bible says the husband should love the wife, but I believe love to be that thing that makes you want to drink my bathwater and do whatever I say and make me feel tingly all over all the time, right? You need to get a Dakes. You know what I'm saying? You need to get a strong concordance. You need to understand what love was intended when it says, husband, love your wives. Otherwise, that thing that seems to be a quick catch fire, right? Able to be uninhibited. I just want you so bad. I do anything for you. That's the same thing that's undisciplined. That lacks strategy. That is that same thing that will fizzle, that will move out, that will be gone no sooner than you look different, somebody lose their job, anything that happens. I don't love you anymore.
Don't love you.
Oh, we fell out of love, right? And romance novels, romantic comedy, movies, all of this stuff, we feed ourselves with what we believe the list should be and how it should go and what it should look like. But you mix in theologies and you don't really, we should be educating ourselves on what the roles are and what the responsibilities are and what that really means. You understand what I'm saying? Because that romantic thing, it fit, but I teach myself what I like.
Come on. And I could teach you.
I could teach you what I like.
Right. I could teach you. Let me show you how to do this. And so but listen to me, right? And that's why I love it though, right? Because when we talk about, this notion of power couples, very rarely do we put a high emphasis on mate selection.
Ooh.
right? And so y'all know as
But
well as
there
I know.
is a
and I'm
high,
not-
I mean, it's strategy. This is chess,
there
it ain't
is.
checkers.
Right.
It
There
takes
is.
something.
Yeah.
Every move.
That if God said that they need to be comparable, right? If the word tells you not to be unequally yoked, right? You know what I'm saying? Then guess what? We got to make sure that mate selection is a part of the. We got to be able to look. We're not supposed to be discriminate, right? But you got to be able to discriminate,
right,
against some mates that are not within the category of select. It don't mean that they less than you. It don't mean that they under you. It just means that you and I aren't compatible.
And let's put this in order real quick, please. Right? We're talking about the men.
Yeah.
Because the men finds.
Okay.
The man finds. Okay. So I'm not saying that a woman shouldn't have expectation and that she shouldn't be evenly yoked. But guess what? If I'm tight with God, we're gonna get to that though. If I'm tight with God, then I'm not confused. I don't get confused. I don't get bewildered. I don't get starstruck. I don't get any of that. But he finds. This is why the king only moves one space at a time. When he's selecting a mate, he only got one space to move. You only got one move. The game could be over. You got one move, so I gotta pick the right one. If I'm at that square, it's life and death. Everything is strategic right now. Right now. What am I doing?
I like it. So I like it. So from this perspective, right, as we're looking at this chessboard piece, the women can move a little bit more. They got a little bit more flexibility, right?
And it ain't really free.
It's not.
Because it costs.
It costs something.
It costs
every move. But from this perspective of talking about that king piece and saying, God says, he that findeth the wife. He didn't say she that findeth the husband, right?
Or qualifies a husband.
Come on, right? Yeah. And so, or quality, go ahead now, right? But I
mean, we find it to be, I mean, many of us, right? And whether it's formally educated or street knowledge educated, many of us are thinkers, right? We're not talking about being challenged, okay? Yeah. We're thinkers, all right? Yeah. And so a lot of times when you present it with some body, you begin to check it off. You check off the boxes immediately from what you think you understand.
And okay, so yeah. Look, so when we talk about, but looking at this mate selection piece,
yeah,
because you do have to be discriminate, right? You know what I mean? You gotta have qualifications, although you cannot qualify what it is that God has sent you.
Right.
Does that make sense? That if God sends it, it's not your responsibility to qualify it. It's your responsibility to test the spirit by the spirit so that you can know that God sent it. Oh, come on, right?
So this is the question though, right? This is the question. This is good. This is good.
I gotta look. I like this, right? Can I bring this into the conversation?
Yeah.
Don't say what you say what you're saying. Yeah, but I gotta put this up here because we gotta come on.
That's the game right
there.
Go
ahead. Come on.
I mean, because if we begin to liken it to chess, right? Once the game ain't over, right? The legacy is the spirit that reigns in your home, that creates the children that you bring up. Their friends that come visit them. They are impacted based on the spirit that reigns, the legacy that lives within your marriage and within your family, within your home. That's the game.
That's the game.
Every step you move. You understand what I'm saying? That's good.
But I do, and that's why. But that's why I say, right, legacy is established through marriage. Understanding that mate selection piece, who it is that I join myself with, is going to dictate what type of legacy I'm going to leave. So question is, am I going, because we call it generational curses, but there are legacies that are being left to people. You leaving a legacy, right?
Whether it's a blessing or a curse.
Come on, right? We talk about generational curses. But we're talking about legacies that are left, right? Yeah. So am I going to leave a legacy of divorce? Am I going to leave a legacy of promiscuity?
Based on not being disciplined with where I'm spreading my seed.
And I say that, look, y'all, I say that not from a judgmental standpoint, because Sharita can tell you that I didn't have many qualifications for where it was that I was going to plant. Does that make sense? The Lord is faithful, right? That my plant only... that I planted places and did nothing grow from it, right? Except where it was supposed to grow, right? But you know what I mean? And so
this is good for marriage though, for real. Because I've been knowing this man since I was 8 years old. And I'm not talking about met him, we was kind of friends in school. I mean, know this man.
Yeah.
Like knowing him, know his family. So I know what legacies is existing. I know what's happening. I knew him, right? So I knew him, all right, as a kid. What? Even last year, we be in the bathroom getting ready for work. Ain't no 14, 15, 16-year-old gonna show up.
Come on, man.
And he would be like, why would you even say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not even.
I'm just saying, when you know who you got. In marriage, we talking about what we gonna do. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, because this ain't over. Right. This ain't gonna be over. This, I got to die.
So
I got to die, right? But in my mind, I'm thinking, you done stole some royal oats
out there. Somebody raising a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, right.
We need to know.
But you got to make sure that you're mindful of what it is when you decide to select a mate. You got to make sure that you say that you look and saying, this is somebody that I can create legacy with.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is that we do is going to set the tone for the children that we create, for like you said, for our children's friends, for the other couples that come around us. Because if you think that as a couple, that other couples aren't being either inspired or discouraged by you,
inspired or what's the word? What's the word that you use? Where you decide? Selective.
Oh, yeah.
Selective, right? I mean, we can't keep time because y'all got work. No offense. You understand what I'm saying? But the spirit that reigns in your space, right? Okay? And so for that reason, as a king, you can't move into every spot that's open.
Ooh.
Every spot. Okay.
That's a lot. As a king, you can't move into every spot that's open. That is a...
You can't take up residence there. You can't stay overnight. You can't be there for a second. You got to be careful. This is chess. This ain't checkers. It don't just mean nothing. It means something. The kingdom's at stake. The legacy's at stake.
So that was a legitimate, like, chess reference, and it was practical physically. That was okay. Okay. I like it, right? I love it. So look. So the other part of this, right?
I think I got that from you.
You probably. I wasn't gonna say nothing. You know what I mean? Because that's between me and you. I didn't. Anywho, but so look, so when we started on this talking about this notion. So funny. We're starting on this notion of power couples, right? And talking about the fact that you got to be whole individuals,
right?
Right? Because if me and you come together and we're not whole, and we form what we believe to be a power couple, right? Because we want the impression
somebody
of
else to think that is power.
We want the impression of power.
With
we want the impression of power, but we don't have the impact of power. Right? So you look at that notion of impression versus impact to say, no, I don't want to look like I'm powerful. I want to be powerful.
And what does that take? That takes service. That takes sacrifice. That takes discipline.
It does.
That's where the power is at, y'all. Right? I mean, we don't become athletic. We don't become the best by not being disciplined, by not practicing, by not choosing. Not today. Today, I'm doing this. The move is here. That's where the flex come in at. I'm able to flex because I'm able to restrain. And something else is more important. There are priorities.
Yeah. And so I want my power to be in my ability to elevate others, right? I want my power. If you and I are going to be a power couple, y'all, and this is how you got to begin looking at these notions of relationships, that you got to say, yo, if we're going to be a power couple, our power is going to be in the way that we elevate others. Our power is going to be in the way that
I protect you.
That's fair.
In here and out there. My power is going to be understanding my role and not being challenged when I come to the revelation of what my role is as a queen. Not being challenged that the game is predicated on what God gave him. Right? right? Come on, submit to your husband. What is submit? I was looking at this, and we talked about submit. You know, we talked about acquiesce. We talk about falling back. We talk about understanding what my power is, what my flexibility is. We talked about that a little bit last week, right? To your own husband, right? Because we'll pick some people that we're willing to submit to because we've qualified them. They've checked the boxes. Their integrity is enough. But the man you picked, he don't deserve it, right? But that word submit or respect in some versions also means to be in awe. To acknowledge the role, the stature, right? Come on now. In order for me to do that, the queen wear the crown with her head up. I'm not ashamed. I don't feel bad that my role is to protect him, that I'm only moving about the game to make sure that he ain't got God. And I ain't ashamed by that. My crown don't slip about that. I am not challenged. My royalty is not questioned because that's my role. And that is a requirement to be a wife. That's a requirement. It ain't that he need to be gassed because he need to. That's what he need. My man need to be stroked, girl. I got to be telling him all the time how wonderful he is, how great he is, who he's so eloquent, speaks so good. He need to hear that all the time. I just wish he'd be more. No, whether he need it, and if he's saying it to you, if he asking you, baby, how did you think it went? That means you need to get on your job.
Oh,
that means that's what the words say. That's what it say. And it don't challenge me, right? And that's what, and God is, God builds it in for us in case you forget. In case you forget, this is what I need you to do. And in turn, I'm going to tell him what he needs to do.
come on.
I'm going to tell him what you need. He needs respect. He needs you to acknowledge his role. And the way that you do that, when you're able to do that, when you're able to be in awe and acknowledge his role, right? When you're able to respect him, he will be won over by me. I'll get his heart. Because you've shown that you can see the things that are able to be acknowledged. But we get so caught up on the little things by our qualifications that you forget to do your role.
Oh, wait. And that's that 1 Peter 3, right?
That's what it
is. Right, that tells you he'll be, even if he don't believe in God, he'll be won over by the conduct of his
submit.
Life. Yeah.
Submit is not just acquiesce, do whatever he say. Submit is in your attitude. It's I'm stroking you, baby, because it's my job. And I want to keep my job. I'm going to keep my job. I'm going to keep this job. Right? And it's not, it doesn't have to be reciprocal. Now it's nice, but I don't necessarily need all that because I'm a queen. I know I'm fly.
But there's a responsibility for the man too.
Yes,
right?
There is.
And I think this is where we get lost, fellas, right? If you out there, look, tag a fella in the comments. You hear me? I need you to tag a fella in the comment that need to know how he's supposed to be handling this too, right? Because Sharita speaks eloquently about the role of the wife, the role of the queen, right? In being able to protect, right? I'm a firm believer that spiritually, the reason that God showed us that the rib was removed from Adam was to protect the heart. I think that there is a notion spiritually, right, and physically in Genesis chapter 2 that shows you the responsibility, right, of the wife to be able to protect the heart of her husband, right?
And how do I do that? I assure you that I see you. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right. No, you're fine.
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
You know, but there's another part of that too, right? And you know, and I've said this before, man. If you've heard me speak on it, but I believe that it was also God showing man that if you are going to have a woman, you have to be willing to sacrifice. God did not need, y'all listen, if you look at, God didn't need a rib in order to make Adam. So there ain't no way that he needed a rib in order to make Eve. But he said, you know what? So from a spiritual perspective, I need them to see sacrifice happen. I need them to see a man that, first of all, has power, that I've given him my image and my likeness, right? That, second of all, has purpose, that he has a role and a responsibility in the garden. I need you to keep it. I need you to be able to name the animals. I need you to embrace your authority to declare a thing and that thing be so. I need you to be able to see yourself that way. You got to have power and purpose. And in that purpose, you'll have identity.
Yeah.
You got to have provision.
Yeah.
You got to be able, you can have these trees you can't. That means that there's protection, and then you can have partnership. And then you've qualified in God's eyes, not in man's eyes. To have somebody
comparable, because now you are something to be
because
compared
you got
to.
Something.
Yeah.
And so men have to make sure that we're mindful. And ladies, y'all got to be mindful too. If he ain't working in the king, if he is not exhibiting purpose, he ain't ready. If he don't know who he is in God, he ain't ready, right? Because I asked the question, I said, does love have to be the foundation of a marriage?
Yeah, we had this discussion and I had to walk it through. I'm like, yeah.
Number one, God has to be the foundation of marriage.
Right. Just
to make it clear.
Yeah.
Listen, whether we got love or not, we got to have God.
When we all get confused.
Because listen, love is a choice.
Yeah.
It is not an emotion. And so guess what? If love fades here, right? If she decides that she's no longer going to make the choice for it to be unconditional regard.
Right.
Right, for it to be unconditional consideration.
Yeah.
Unconditional reverence, right? If I decide I'm not going to make the choice of unconditional regard.
That thing that we stand on is a rock. And it don't move.
Because if I got God, guess what? Love can be restored.
Yeah.
Listen, for somebody that's out there right now struggling because you looking over at him saying, I don't love this joker no more. If you got God as the foundation, love can be restored. Romance can be restored. Respect can be restored. Admiration can be restored.
It can be refreshed. Yeah.
But we got to make sure that we got that as the foundation. But I say that, y'all, because when I look at what God did with Adam, he did not require Adam to love Eve. And he did not require Eve to love Adam. If you look at it, and I know that this ain't probably popular, but you got to be able to look at that word in Genesis 2, right? He brought her to the man, and he said, this is what? Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
He bestowed the love.
Listen to me. It's the reason, y'all, that when you look at Ephesians chapter 5,
yeah,
it tells husbands to love their wives as what? As Christ loved the church. I don't need you to be trying to put your own definition on love. I don't need you to try to put your own qualification on love, man. Because why? Look, check this out. I'm sorry. Check this out, right?
Ooh, okay.
He didn't tell women to love their husbands.
Yeah.
In that, right? Yeah. It wasn't, ladies, love your husband as the church loved Christ, right?
Right.
No.
Go up.
It wasn't about that, right?
The oil flow down.
Right.
Yeah.
You talking about respect. You talking about honor. You talking about submit. Because there is a natural unction in a woman to love.
Right.
There is not a natural unction in a man to love. And so the reason that he had to go down, because he had to help him too. He had to say, look, I need you to understand what your responsibility are. You are supposed to sanctify and cleanse her. Sanctify means what? I got to set her apart, which means that ain't nobody like this one right here.
Oof.
I might make some mistakes, but ain't nobody like this. I might, you know what I mean? I might talk to somebody, but I don't talk to nobody like I talk to her. I don't protect nobody like I protect her. I don't honor nobody like I don't provide for nobody like I provide. You have to sanctify, set her apart as sacred. And then you got to cleanse her. That means that if she make a mistake, I gotta listen. That means that if she crashes one car into the other one, coming out of the garage, I gotta say, are you okay? Because I can replace a car. I can replace a car. I can't replace your confidence in your driving, right? I can replace a car. I can't replace there being a notion of fear that if you do something wrong, that it's gonna be Judgment Day in my house. I got to be able to sanctify and cleanse you. I got to set you apart. I got to set you aside. I got to make it different, which means you can't talk to me about her. She can make a million mistakes. You can't call me about her. Not if you're trying to be in relationship with me. And so you got to understand, fellas, that means your mama. Ooh,
leave and cleave.
That means your mama. That means your mama can't talk about your wife. Now, your mama can talk about your girlfriend. Your mama might even be able to talk about your fiance, right? But your mama can't talk about your wife. My mama knows.
That's your requirement. That's the man's requirement.
What?
It don't tell the woman to leave and cleave.
My responsibility is to make sure that I separate and forsake what was known before. And the most intimate relationships that I had before.
And stick.
And I got to cleave. Right? Because she's got to be able to depend on me, and there can't be a whole trail
else. There can't be a priority possibly that anybody else can come and
separate.
This is flesh.
And so you see it. Yeah. You see it with this word where it's saying you got to love her as Christ. Ooh. Love the church, right? But it also says, and it goes back because the word, listen to me, the word is revolving. It's not isolated.
Ooh,
the word is revolving. So you have to understand. Then it goes back to say that it says you got to love your wives as what? As your own body. Because he had to take it all the way back to the very first time. What did Adam say?
Flesh of my flesh.
Because at first when we was talking about this, I said, I looked at this in Genesis 2, and I said, God did not require love for marriage. He did not require love for the union of the man and the woman. When he brought the woman to Adam looked at her and said, that's me.
That's me.
That's me. So guess what? When that's me, love is innate. It is automatic.
Because I love me and I see me.
And if you are me, then I love you. And that's why the word requires it of a man.
Built. You know what I'm saying? We built different.
Y'all, and it's the reason that you got to understand. Selfishness in marriage will create failure, right?
Poison.
But men, hear me out. And this is why I believe that God had to put that in there. Is because men by nature are selfish. Now, don't get me wrong. Your man might not be selfish. You got a man that's the exception. He ain't selfish. He's selfless. He the biggest. Look at some pastors' wives and some first ladies out there. He the biggest servant. He don't do nothing for himself. Boo! There is a natural part of I'm just saying, man. I don't do the faking, right? Sharita will tell you I'm selfless. I do some stuff for other people. That's not about benefiting me, but I'm naturally selfish. I'm naturally selfish because it is a part of humanity. It's a part of manhood that you think about you first. And that's the reason I believe that the word had to say, you got to love your wife as your own body because I know what's in you.
To help you.
I know that self-preservation is your first thought. And so guess what? If I can help you to make the connection that self-preservation means preserving her, then I can help to make sure she's protected too.
Right. And if I'm protecting you, because the game is predicated on you.
It's a cycle. Nobody gets left behind.
That's
right. Nobody gets left behind, right?
That's good.
And so so it's important, y'all. And I know. Look, I know there's some brothers out there that's like, yo, why you gotta come like this, right? But the reality is, you got Sharita talking about what queens is supposed to do in protecting kings and all of that. If I don't tell you that as kings, your responsibility is to say, look, I wouldn't cut my arm. I ought not woo my wife.
I'm not cutting you.
I'm not. Does that make sense? I'm not cutting. And ladies, you got to make sure that you are paying attention to men that are destructive to themselves. So if he's drinking himself into a coma, if he's smoking himself into a hospital bed, if he's eating himself into a, does that make sense? You got to make sure that you are mindful to pay attention to the behaviors that he conveys that are self-destructive, because it is going to be impossible for a man that is destroying himself to be able to preserve you. Because if he's loving you like he loves his own body, but he's being destructive to his own body and to his own self and to his own health, you ain't got nothing but abuse coming.
And how about this? For us ladies, right? A husband should be God's representation of his love for you.
That's why he created us.
And so that's why, as ladies, right, we should, the question is, are you looking for God's representation for love? Do you understand what that is? If I'm in relationship with God, if I'm supping with him, if I know what his character is, if I know what it feels like to be in his presence and his spirit is on me and I feel him saying, I got you, daughter. I got you. I know what his spiritual embrace feels like. I know what his chastening feels like. I understand what his love is. So guess what? I'm ready to be a wife. When being in relationship with God is my breath.
Come on.
When I need it like I needed to breathe, when I'm able to commit to him and not be so concerned about being able to be with somebody else. I need to be in a relationship with somebody else all the time. I'm here with it. And I understand what it feels like for God to love me, so that when it's time for him to send somebody, I know how to fit in the chest cavity. Because I've been there. I know what it's like to be nurtured, to be embraced, to be washed, to be chastened, to be led. I can be led because my father been leading me already. He is the representation of God's love in the earth for you. But you got to be ready for that. You got to know what that is. God ain't sending him. I'm sorry.
No, don't finish.
He ain't sending him. If you ain't tapped into him, you don't know how to be in my love yet. You can't receive my love yet. You can't receive my correction yet. You don't know my work. You don't even know my character to know that ain't me. So how you gonna know? You gotta know. Except we get on our knees and we pray, Lord, is it him? Can you send my husband? And he's saying, do you want me?
Right. Because
will you take me?
Right. Because the word says, my sheep know my voice. So how is it that you're going to test the spirit by the spirit? How you going to know that the representation of God in the earth, in your husband is there, if you have not actually made the connection?
And we doing it backwards. And God is, he's merciful. Good. He's graceful, right? Yeah. He gives us, he bestows upon us. Yeah. And then he takes us back and say, remember when me and you was like this?
Ooh. Remember when our connection was strong?
Remember what was happening then? I need you. Can you commit to me? You want commitment in the earth. Can you commit? Can you show yourself?
Yeah. And so it's tough. It ain't easy, right? You know what I mean? These are not things that are easy, man. And that's the beauty of being able to be in this space where we can talk about these things, right? From a perspective to say, yo, I know that there are people out there that are saying, but Lord, you look, I love it. I seen this meme that said, Lord, if you ran out of husbands, just say so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If
you ran, all right, I don't even know.
I see my sister. Right. I don't be on it enough, but my baby sister.
Hey.
I be wanting to know.
But you gotta make sure that you
tell me.
Just tell me.
Can you make for more?
And God is saying, I ain't run out of husbands.
I ain't running out. I need you to get ready.
I gotta make sure that me and you is on, because if me and you not on, guess what?
The kingdom is in danger.
Here's the
legacy is in danger.
It is.
Because you're the queen, right?
Because this is
because the entrance into the union, right? This is how we get so confused, right? Even if he is the one, if it ain't time, if you ain't ready, right? It don't automatically make you a king except you on a chessboard. It don't automatically make you a queen except you in the game. It's like Hunger Games. It's time to play now. You don't get ready time. You don't get ready time. And so if he ain't come yet, that means you got more get ready time. Because I'm telling you, for my sisters that's out here and we trying to make this relationship work, and we doing this and we doing that, and we trying to get it tight. I'm waiting for him to give me a ring. Are you ready? Because I tell you what, the enemy ain't looking for you until you on that board. And you ain't on that board until you a couple. And guess what? He looks at you as a power couple because now you got the covenant. You done stood up with God and said, this is it. Marriage, we can play these games like people don't believe in the Bible, but God created marriage. So you got to ask he got to be a part of it in order for it to even work. It's supposed to be somebody who's been by God, but I know they're doing it different now. I ain't mad at them. I'm just saying, right? You got to be ready.
You do. And the same thing for us, fellas, right? When you talking about, man, and I know some of us gonna be players till we die, right? But I'm telling you,
will.
Listen to me. I'm telling you, man, you gotta,
it's dangerous.
It is, man. I can't listen, y'all, as smart as I might be, right? As intellectual as I might appear, I can't protect myself from everything. I can't see every angle, right? You gotta be able to have somebody in your corner that's in your corner, no man. If the whole world, do you hear me? If the whole world curve in, you can't be a player forever, right? And I think that some men, the word says he that finds a wife. There are some men out there that think that there ain't no women that ain't scamming. There ain't no women that ain't, you know what I'm saying? That ain't true. The reality is, I'll never forget, man, talking to somebody and they was like, yo, you know, you can only have a woman that's like this, or you can have a woman like that. I said, that ain't real. You can have a woman that's like God decided, and the way that God actually designed her for you, but you looking in the wrong spot. So you showing up at places where ain't nobody. Look, you showing up where places that God didn't lead you to, trying to find a wife. That ain't never gonna work.
Or you haven't. God hasn't qualified you yet. Ooh. You got the peace.
You got the peace.
Because you only somewhere looking for a woman where you don't think that they're qualified.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Come on.
How do you even get there? Because somebody that's got the peace.
Listen, and that
might not be
come
there.
on, right? That's not there, right? And the P's, power, purpose, provision, protection. Then you ready for partnership. The reality is, y'all, we look at that word in Genesis 2, where God says, it is not good that man be alone. He got to be a man first, ladies. Oh, listen to me. The word said it's not good that man be alone. It's some little boys that need to be alone.
Yeah.
And you are and you trying to make him a man, or you trying to respect him like a man, but he's behaving like a boy. And so you got to make sure that you keep it in context. It is not good that man be alone. God knew what he had put in Adam. He knew that Adam had purpose, right?
Yeah.
And he had identity. He knew that he gave him everything that he needed. It was not good that he be alone, because a man ought not be alone, but a little boy ought to be alone. An immature boy ought to be alone. The word of God says, when I was a child, I thought as a child.
Mama's boy.
I spoke as a child.
Yeah.
But guess what? When I became a mature man, when I became a mature adult, I put some childish things away. I had to say bye-bye to some things.
And that's
because
so good. So this is so good, right? Because you know, there's always conversations, at least I hear. I'm sure they could be much more probably graphic outside of the ears of a woman or a queen, right? But, you know, there's this discussion about, you know, getting married and I can't hang out with the boys. I can't do this. I can't do that. When you cleave, right? And this came to me too, because I looked up cleave, right? And it's interesting that sometimes when you look up cleave, it will sometimes be defined as severing.
Come on.
But cleave, as it is mentioned or referenced in this word, is to join to be glued to not be separated from. Think it not strange that God requires you to cleave, and it seemed like she always want to be up under you.
Come on.
How ironic is it to make your queen or the woman that you've chosen to marry feel bad because she's saying, can I, when you come home, you think we could have, I got to ask you for a date. I got to ask you not to work on the weekends. I got to ask you not to play golf I got to ask that. That's your job. Your job is to cleave to me.
Uh-oh.
I'm the rib. I need to be up under you. And God knew that about me. So he required it of you, because it ain't natural. It ain't natural for a woman for me to just do everything you say and be like, ooh, you the greatest thing since sliced bread. But that's a requirement. So that means I better learn. I learned how to be a human resource leader. We learned how to be nurses, doctors, and lawyers, and all of this stuff. You better learn. As a man, I need you to learn how to cleave.
I gotta learn.
Really cleave.
We gotta learn. Because men will isolate themselves.
Yeah,
right?
or tell somebody else all your secrets. You only fun with these folks. When I get you, you tired. You've been working. You tired. You got to make this. I got to work. I got to work. But I need.
So can we do? So can we look at this? Right?
Yeah.
Can we look at this from this perspective?
Yeah.
And we say, listen, if you are intending to be a power couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's your goal, if your desire is to say, yo, I want to be powerful and I want to be married to somebody powerful.
Baby, don't forget your thought.
Okay.
Let's remove the negative connotation of wanting to be a power couple.
Right.
When you get on the chessboard, it is definitive.
Okay.
The king and the queen, they are the power couple. If you enter into a marriage, it's power. Power comes with marriage, period. And so if you are not attempting to be the most powerful people on the board, then you out of purpose. It comes with it. You ain't ready because the game is happening. And every time you make a move, decisions is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And legacy is at stake. Purpose is at stake. Vision is at stake. God's glory is at stake. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about bring the purpose to fruition. And so let's remove the negative connotation of if you aspire to be a power couple. Now, if you married, if you plan to be married, you need to be planning. What do I need to do to make sure the power is combustible?
Right, because why did God create us? He said, let them what?
Rule. And
let them dominate.
Dominion.
Come on now.
That's what the king and the queen do on
That's
the board.
That's what you're supposed to do. And so you have to understand, right? If you intend to embrace your God-given mandate to be a power couple, because if God put you together, then you got to be a power couple. Why? Because God put us on earth to dominate. So if he put two of us together, he said, be fruitful and multiply, right? He said, give them dominion. He said to man and woman, be fruitful and multiply. What does that mean? That means that I have to make sure that I am rendering a return on God's investment. Being fruitful means I got to be producing something. And some of us will minimize that to children. We'll make that about having kids. And God is saying, look, that's cool. Have kids, right?
Yep.
But I need you to be I need you to be advancing the kingdom of God. I need you to make sure that principles are priority. That when people are talking about you, they're talking about somebody that is deliberate, somebody that serves, somebody that sacrifices, somebody that is loving other people, somebody that is spending time on a Thursday night when I've worked all day long and can have my feet kicked up, that's trying to make an investment in the lives of some other people. That I might be able to say, God gave me something. God gave my wife something. The least we can do is give it back. Because guess what? If we sow it, then you know that we gonna reap.
Let it flow.
And so God is saying, you got to be productive. You got to spread some seeds out there that's going to grow, that hopefully there's some other relationships that'll develop, that, you know what I mean, that there'll be some healthy expectations put in relationships, that men will begin to say, wait, I'm supposed to sacrifice? Wait, you want to be under me like this? Because I'm supposed to cleave to you? Wait, I'm supposed to love you as myself? So that some queens out there will say, wait, I got to protect my king. He ain't, look, I got to make sure that he know that I see him.
Yep.
I'm going to protect him so that some other woman ain't out there saying that she see him.
Because guess what? It can be the Game of Thrones out here. It can be the Game of Thrones if you want it to be. Because in the game of chess, it's about dismantling somebody else's kingdom. Don't think that it ain't nobody else on the other side of the board looking at your king or looking at your queen trying to see how they can be in the throne. Now they want to wear the crown. They stroke him all day. They'll cleave her all day. I ain't got to go to golf. I'm calling off work. It can be the Game of Thrones. Don't be afraid, though. Don't be afraid. Just know that once you enter into that union, it's time to play chess, baby. Every single move,
every decision has to be delivered.
And power is exercised in the strategy, in understanding the role, in understanding the sacrifice and the servitude, understanding that there's some things that come natural to me, and that's going to be the grace right? There is favor that comes with me, but I have to understand my role. There's some things I got to learn. I ain't just ready made. It ain't shake and bake. I gotta learn how to do this. I gotta learn how to say, did I tell you how wonderful you are today? Because you are. And I believe it is genuine. I'm not just doing it because
I'm trying to play the game. And I think that that's the thing I don't want there to be a misconception on, right? This concept of it's chess, not checkers, is not to say you got to be playing a game, but it's just to say you have to have the same level of strategy and deliberate nature as what is in the game of chess. I'm not telling you to make marriage a game. I'm not telling you to make life a game. I'm saying that when you play chess, it is deliberate. Every move means something. Every decision matters, right? And you got to be that deliberate as it relates to marriage, that deliberate as it relates to relationships, as it relates to love in general, and that deliberate as it relates to accepting and embracing the mandate that God placed on your life to say, you're supposed to rule.
Yeah.
You're supposed to listen to me. You're supposed to have notoriety. People are supposed to know who you are. Why? Because you're my representative.
And you're supposed to be multiplying.
Huh?
When you deal with people, you're supposed to operate in principle. So it's about the principle. It ain't about this other thing. It's about the foundation of the thing. It's about this word.
Come on.
I'm on purpose.
On purpose.
I'm serious. You understand what I'm saying? I'm serious. And people that know me, I've been serious since I was born. Right? I came out the womb. Serious about it. Whatever I set out to do, we all came with a purpose. Yeah. And you need to be serious about that. It don't mean we can't be lighthearted. Don't mean we can't have a good time. But there's strategy. The principle though, what's the reason?
Why are we doing that?
What's the reason though?
And you got to make sure that you keep in context, y'all. I'm a fan. Look, I'm a fan of the show, of the movie, man. One of my favorite movies in the world is what's my favorite movie? Paid in Full. Everybody eats, B. You know what I mean? If you eating and the people around you starving, we in trouble. That means that the
kingdom's in trouble because they ain't moving appropriately.
But that means if my relationship is healthy, but all the relationships around me is falling apart,
you ain't multiplying.
I'm not multiplying. I'm not being fruitful because I'm not spreading seed in order to strengthen my brothers, right? And so we got to make sure we keep that in mind. We done rounded an hour, y'all. It's always a pleasure, man. We having a good time sharing with y'all, man. Sharita came back for a second week. Can we get through? Okay, I'm just trying. Listen. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But look, I want to say, man. I want to say for you guys, man. I love y'all so much, man. Anybody and everybody that has spent time, right? Whatever little bit of time you spent in here conveying your thoughts and your perspectives with us, man. The encouragement that I'm seeing in the comments has been a blessing. We try to get back in the comments. What you mean? What you?
I can't.
You want to look at this one? Is this the one that you want to see?
Ken. No, I love Ken.
I know this was the one that you. Because you wanted to get in the comments. I just wanted.
I did because I have a hard time with the social, and so
That's Blue.
Love you too,
man. Come on now, Mama Dana.
Mama Dana too.
Love you and miss you for sure. My brother Greg.
Let's see if anybody had any questions, just so that we can.
Listen, I appreciate that, Ange. We're doing our best to be as powerful as God intended, right? Because the power has to come from God. It ain't about us. It's about the power that God has provided. My man Nate said part 3. Sharita, I don't know what's going on here. But
I don't either. But these is your people, so I'm wondering what's happening here.
You can't,
is this the right direction?
I don't know if this is, Tracy Fountain, God bless you for... Thank you. I'm just saying what King said that we should write a book. I appreciate that. You know what? I got an author right here. You know what I'm saying? I know my shirt says he writes, right? But I got an author right here. I am my brother. You better say that, Miss Lena. That's for sure, man.
Angie said there was a question about trust.
Okay, come on.
We gonna say you stuck. You gotta stay. Mimi, scroll. Where is it, Angie? You know who it was?
There's a question about trust.
Scroll. You got to scroll in the right direction.
I don't know where the question about
it's got to be up earlier. You look for a question mark.
Question about trust.
Is you going slow enough?
I'm going slow.
This is how he watch TV. He scrolls so fast. I say, you can't be reading it. You got to read them. Miles Morales, man, is not. We weren't. Enemy hates. Again.
And what was the question about trust? I don't know where, I can't find it. I'm sorry, y'all. If you put a question in there about trust, please put it in there again. Oh, Tanae said I got a question. Come on, Tanae, come with the question, girl. We want the question.
Cause you scrolling too fast.
Yeah, you can scroll if you want. Yeah, I'm not trying to. I want your question.
I just want to see if people have questions. I just want people to feel like they a part. Because I have a hard time getting in this comments and stuff. Cause I don't know, y'all. The social, I get lost in it, and I'll get out of it when I try to get in it because I get frustrated because I don't find what I'm looking for.
Oh, she said basically, can trust be replenished?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
But how? So the answer is yes.
We experienced that.
But the question is how. Right?
We experienced that before marriage.
Okay.
But we experienced that.
Yeah. How? How did you reestablish trust? How did I reestablish trust? Or from your perspective, how does trust be reestablished, right? Because we've been married for 13 years. We've known each other for 25 years, right? Because we've known each other since elementary, sometimes there's this misconception that it's like, oh, such a beautiful love story.
I mean, it's a love story. We leave out
right. There's some chunks in there that ain't so lovely. I know my husband
since I was in 3rd grade. I have known him and I loved him from the first day I saw him. I looked at him and I said, he's special.
Hey.
And I was in 3rd grade. Love 3rd grade, okay. But I knew he was special when I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to tell everybody some ugly, mean, fighting, draw out stuff up in there. But I think it starts with choosing. It starts with choosing that the trust needs to be prepared. And it's hard work. It is gut-wrenching and agonizing. And I think that there is a misconception that it's easier, and maybe it is, to just not. But though, if there are scars or if there is behaviors that create mistrust, it carries with you. But when you know for a fact that you are called to one another, like we are called to this kingdom, this legacy that we were given to create, we were called to it together. It wasn't no choice.
And trust can be reestablished when there's something bigger in the relationship than my own personal emotions and my own personal desires, right? So I think that that's part of it. It is a choice every day for a man and for a woman. She has to choose to trust. I got to choose to exhibit the characteristics and the behaviors that are trustworthy, which means that sometimes I got to turn over stuff that I don't want to turn over in order to make sure that she's comfortable and that she's secure, right? And so it has to be worth repairing, but there has to be something bigger than the way that I feel, that we are trying to reestablish the trust, right? It can't be I'm trying to reestablish trust because of my emotions. I got to be reestablishing trust because the union that we have and the destiny that is at stake, the legacy that is at stake is so much bigger that I've got to change the way that I behave. I got to change the things that I do. And I've got to sacrifice some of the things that I would rather do in order to make sure that I am it's like anything else. You got to rebuild the foundation of what it is that you do. That means that you got to be transparent on levels that you may not want to be transparent on. That means that she's got to know that you will tell her the truth, even when the truth is ugly.
Yeah.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Trust requires.
You can't withhold information.
Yes.
You can't buy stuff that you know that you promised that you wouldn't buy. Spend what you know that's something typically that women do, right? And I think one of the things that I've learned is that even considering the different levels of it, God wants you to trust him. There is a requirement of vulnerability.
Yeah.
That can be scary for many of us, right? And there's this thing in relationships, whether it's marriage or other relationships, where it's like, I cannot let this guard down, because if I do, then it's like I marked myself. You know what I'm saying? And when you have decided to trust somebody, you got to make the free fall.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
because the choice to trust is beyond your hands. It's outside of you. Once you do that,
you can only control this. And I choose you. I choose to trust. I choose this. And so you got to make a decision that that's what you're doing.
Come on. And I make an investment in you. So if I choose to trust you, if you've hurt me and you've done something, I choose to trust you. I'm giving my investment to you. And then I'm trusting you to render a return on my investment.
Right.
Please don't hurt me again.
Please.
Please, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Please don't hurt me again. And then Tanae had a question right here, which is a great question. She said, how can man's natural function not be love when God made us in his image and he first loved us? Excellent question, Tanae. So here's my perspective. Is that okay, right?
Because we talk about theology and scripture.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you my perspective on it, right? My perspective is this: God created man in his image and his likeness, right? So he gave man his ability to function. He gave man his spiritual nature,
his image and his likeness,
right? And his image and likeness, right? And so what happened though is that man decided to forfeit that for knowledge of good and evil. So God made a choice for us when he gave his image and his likeness, right? He made the choice for us. He said, this is how I want you to see things. This is how I want you to perceive things. When Adam and Eve decided to take the bite of the forbidden fruit, right? The knowledge of good and evil, what it did is it opened our mind to things
and our flesh
to things that God did not intend for us to originally be open to. And so the reason that naturally, because this thing is flesh, I have to choose the spirit man. I have to feed the spirit man. The flesh is the flesh all by itself.
It's natural. It's the natural state. It's born into sin.
I hope that makes sense, right? You know what I mean? So that's the reason that our natural function, because we are born in sin, right? It is a man's sperm that created me, right? And there is naturally sin in the seed, because of what we forfeited at the beginning of time. It's the reason that we have to be born again. It's the reason that we have to accept Jesus Christ, right? It's the reason that does that make sense? That we have to embrace these ideals and make sure that we are feeding the spiritual part of us by getting as much knowledge and understanding of God as we possibly can, that we have a healthy diet spiritually in order to combat the fact that there's some natural, and I would assume that you can relate to the fact that there's some natural thoughts that you have that you're saying, dang, I don't know why I'm thinking that. I don't want to be thinking that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be thinking that. I know it's not right to be thinking that, right? You clutching pearls.
Take it out of me, Jesus.
You know what I mean?
You know
and so
what I'm
that's why I say that that's a natural part of man, right? Because we are naturally flesh, and the flesh is sinful.
Selfish.
The heart, the word of God says the heart is deceitfully wicked. And so we got to make sure that we keep that in mind. That's a natural part of us, right? And so it's only God, it's only accepting his spirit, accepting his nature, that we can begin to be something else.
That because we have will, that takes you doing something for it, right? You have to do something in order for God he's a gentleman, right? And so in order for you to have that spirit, otherwise, us understanding love, God's love, we're not God. So even though he gave us his image and his likeness, we are not God, right? And so him being love doesn't automatically bestow on me because I accept him as Christ. I got to learn how to love because it's action. I have to do some things to bestow love. It's not just a part of the essence of me. Right.
That's real. So today, I hope I answered your question. Let me know in the comments if I answered you on a level that broke that down into a perspective that makes sense. Another question right here is
said fasting and praying, but they deep. They probably got a better answer. Sharia, how do you break generational?
That's Monet Rogers that said that. So Taria says, how do you break generational curses after you've entered into a marriage? The way that we trying to do, right? So we people that's in this boat, does that make sense? In this boat where we're trying to break generational curses, right? And declaring generational curses broken. But you have to understand, generational curse means that it's a curse that is going from one generation through your lineage to present to the next one, right? And so the best response that I can give you in this, right, to my sister, my sister Monet Rogers, fasting and praying, absolutely, right? Those are absolutely tools.
The blood will.
Come on. Yeah. Those are absolutely tools to being able to break generational curses, because when you're fasting and praying, right, you are sacrificing things that you would rather have, asking for more of God, right? And then that communication piece saying, Lord, I need you to help me. I need you to give me divine wisdom and guidance. The other part of that is being able to call out generational curses, right? To bind them and then to loose that which God actually created, right? So as a, you know what I mean? So as an example, I got a 6-year-old son. I got to make sure that he knows what is a part of his lineage. I got to make sure that he knows what type of generational curses have presented themselves to this point, so that he is educated. So when that thing presents itself, that he's not ignorant to it.
Because it will present itself.
It's got to come back. Because daddy did it, and daddy's daddy did it, right? And so my hope is that I can give him enough knowledge of God and who he is that he don't fall into it, which means that I have to say, yeah, daddy, look, daddy was a fornicator and an adulterer and all kind of things, right? But the reality is I got to make sure that he knows that that is not who God created and intended us to be. And so if I can get him to embrace more of his identity in Christ, then I can get, then because when that married woman showed up on me, I said, I'll take it, right? I need for him that when that married woman show up on him, that he say, that's not right. I'm not your husband. I ought not be sleeping with you, right? That fornication piece, that when his girlfriend and him, or, you know, Sharita don't believe in girlfriends, so I don't know if he's going to be able to have a girlfriend. But when the young lady and him are getting a little too close and cozy and it's nighttime and her hand get to wandering, and he say, no, baby, I got to preserve you and preserve me. Right. Because right now, me and you ain't a king and queen. We ain't married. And so we ain't a king and queen.
All we can do is play checkers.
Right. And so I need to look,
and I need to king you tonight.
I need to protect you from me and me from you.
Yeah.
But that takes, you know what I mean? That takes education. That takes asking God, hey, give me divine guidance. Give me divine wisdom. What is it that I should be saying to my son? Give me the words to speak that will penetrate, to make sure that he understands and knows who he is. Lord, I need you to help me to not provoke my son to do things that are going to be in rebellion to what it is that I'm telling him to do. Does that make sense? Because that generational curse piece comes a whole lot of different ways. Does that make sense? And so I want to make sure that you guys got that. And then one more question, y'all, and we're gonna take there's 2 more questions. I gotta get them both because the second one is gonna be good. So question, Rita, are you gonna start a women's group to get that place you spoke of earlier? So we are ready when God sends him. Hey, that's a good question, Rita. Huh? She said, are you gonna start a women's group? Are you gonna start some type of mentoring? It ain't got to be, a specific group, but are you going to be mentoring women to get them ready for when it is time for them to get married? I think is essentially what she's asking. Ooh, and if you don't know the answer, then go ahead and say you don't know the answer. Monet Rogers, I appreciate you putting. Look, do you know what this is called right here, Miss Monet Rogers? Just so that you know, Mrs. Rogers, what this means is this is called putting a demand on the anointing. I know, look, I talk about it sometimes. Every now and then I talk about it. I do talk about it. But this is what that is. That's a demand on the anointing to say, hey, are you going to use the tools and the anointing that God has placed on your life in order to be fruitful and multiply? Because that's what I like.
What she said down there.
Hold on. There's another question right here.
But hold on. That's Misha.
Right here. This says,
Misha.
Hold on.
Misha. Okay.
Oh, that's Misha. Okay. So listen, wait, you don't believe in boyfriend, girlfriends? So look, don't believe in is a bit strong. I over exaggerate because I think it's funny. Sharita is just a very serious person, right? And because she's always been very serious, she was never, she wasn't trying to be nobody's girlfriend. She was like, yo, where's this going? So this is either going somewhere or it's not, right? But it's not casual. She don't believe in casual dating.
No.
She believes that it has to have deliberate purpose and it's got to be going into a specific direction.
So just for some commentary, right? I've worked with women and young ladies for quite a 12, 13, 14 years, right? And just some people are like, you young, but I have. And there's always been this very active, and I'll call it active debate, because they like, Rita, well, how you get to know somebody then? I mean, I don't even know. I'm just supposed to just jump and marry him. That place that we get into with God prepares us for that. He didn't create you to be somebody's girlfriend. He didn't create you to be somebody's live-in girlfriend. Your value is of a wife in a relationship, right? And so it's very difficult in our culture because we need to test it out. We need to try it. I need to see if it works. That cost, right? That cost. And what you could find is that when you were playing checkers, you pushed yourself behind in schedule to be ready to be a queen, right? I mean, it's just the reality. And so when you are in a place with God, I got a relationship that I'm working on. And if this thing challenges that in any way, then it's out of order, which takes me out of the protection and the will of God. And so you just can't have both things taking occupation at the same time. I can't be a girlfriend. The problem with the girlfriend boyfriend thing is that it makes up its own rules. And as soon as you don't agree, but I don't know that you don't agree to the rules that I thought that we was on the same page on. See, marriage ain't like that. I mean, you can make up your own standards in your marriage and in your household, but for the most part, there's a clear expectation on what love is. There's a clear expectation on submission. There's a clear expectation on fidelity. There's a clear expectation of that. You ain't a sample tray, right? And just a little testimony, right? I got people in here that's my friends. They've been my friend. I think people that's in my friends was here, right? Been my friends for a very long time. We fornicated. That was just what it was.
Yeah. For those of you that are not familiar with the word fornicate, because I was confused myself, that's when you have sex, but you're not married.
Before we was married, and it created huge problems. Okay, huge problems. All right, and that's what I call it.
That's fancy.
That's like what because sex ain't just that. Sex ain't just, you just can't say that. It's fornicate. It is. And so when we came to the knowledge of what the impact was, we began to abstain. But when we decided we were going to get married, he asked me, hey, we need to get married in April. And I said, well, I'd like to have a wedding. He thought that was ridiculous. Okay. We didn't have no money, but with little money we had, pennies. And the family that was around, they made some chicken and helped with some dresses and some decoration, and we moved on, right? But he was living with his parents, and I was living, I was getting ready to get my own apartment. And instead he said, well, we're going to get an apartment that we're going to live in, but we got to start the lease on July 1st. Our wedding was July 21st. I moved into his room at his parents' house, and he moved into the apartment. And people, including people at church, thought it was ridiculous. It's only 21 days. That don't even make sense. Y'all going through all that trouble. You going to move twice? Yes, I am. Guess what? Because as much as I love him, he don't deserve to wake up next to me. I'm not his girlfriend. He ain't did that yet. When we do that, then he gets to wake up next to me. I'll pick up his drawers. I'll cook his breakfast. I'll clean the toilet up after him. But until then, and that's even after the fornication, for me, it meant something, right? So I just think that when we enter into the girlfriend-boyfriend thing, the standards begin to stretch with what I'm willing to do and give, right? And sometimes you call him the standards because he expects to be kinged.
King.
That's it.
King. So look, y'all, we gonna get out of here, man. We done been on here way longer, taking up far more of y'all night than we ever anticipated.
Sorry. I just wanted to get.
Dang, man, there were some other questions, but look, we're gonna try to get to them in the comments if you don't mind. There was a question that I saw, man. My sister. So listen, y'all need to have a marriage group. So y'all, I created a group called This Is Chess Not Checkers. Feel free. I put a comment in there. Like the comment. Send me a message if you'd like to be added to it. I made a mistake and made it private. I don't really know nothing about making groups. So you have to. Right. So please, man, anybody can be a part of it. I didn't know what I was doing. And once you make it private, you can't unmake it private. Oh. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of what happened. But I'd love to have you guys in it, man. I love people that are willing to contribute and make posts in there and stuff like that, man. just to create a community of people that are trying to be deliberate. You know what I mean? That are trying to. You don't have to be married necessarily to be a part of it. You just have to be interested in healthy relationships, man, and encouraging other people in general. So that's it, man. That's the last thing, man. That's all I got. Sharita's gonna decide if she's coming back or not. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But God bless you guys, man. I pray that this was helpful for you. I pray that it was encouraging, that it was inspiring, that it was enlightening. My brother Harris, man. I'm going. I know that you put a question in there. I'm gonna make sure that I get to it in the comments, man. If you'll allow me. God bless you guys, man. God keep you until we meet again. All right. Peace.